Hello and welcome to another Toronto After Dark Film Festival video. This is something we've actually, I don't think we've ever shot a video for.
No, I don't think a separate one. I think you mentioned it one time in another one.
Oh, okay. But, yeah, I'm not sure I've ever, I think maybe I've done write-ups past when I've done writing for about the festival and such. But,
because you said we couldn't say anything because you can't, they're so short you can't.
Yeah, maybe. It is a little hard. Yeah. But yeah, we're talking about the International Short Program. We wanted to talk about that this year. We actually got to see, maybe it's because I never get to see all of them. Maybe. I think this is the first year I actually saw every single one from beginning to end.
Yeah, because we weren't late.
Because we weren't late. And I'm like, literally, this is the 11th year. And I think 10 out of those 11 I've been late or missed completely. And in case you didn't know, the Toronto After Dark Film Festival, before every feature, has a Canadian short film. And they've been doing that ever since they started, all the way up until this year. And to, showcase some of the international shorts, because they're not Canadian, so they don't get to be in front of the features. They do a separate international program for short films and such, and they can range just like the festival. They can be horror related, bizarre, sci-fi, action, whatever. It's whatever they get. They sift through them, and what they say, over 800 or something like that this year.
That would take a long time.
That they had to go through and whittled down to 10 short films. And so I guess you want to just go through them one by one? Alright, well, we'll do that then. First one up was a film called Curve, which was essentially about a young woman trapped on a concrete structure that had a slight curve on it and then went into a pit of nowhere. So it's her struggling to try and not fall into this pit of nowhere. Now for me, it was my favorite film of the bunch. I thought it was fantastic. And you said you really liked it as well.
No, I did. I really liked it because it's that and another one that I liked, but for different reasons. But it was really, really good. You're watching it, and I had my sleeves up. And then I had to put them down because I was almost getting goosebumps because I was just you really feel for this.
You do it is so well done. Track down Curve. It's done by Tim Egan, Australian, from 2016. See if you can track it down. It is fantastic, fantastic. The next one up was Dawn of the Deaf. Now you kind of give that away because they don't give that, if you don't know the title of it beforehand going in, they don't give it till the end of the short. And that's one of the things with shorts, you kind of want to watch them blind, not knowing anything, not knowing what you're going to watch, because this one, you didn't know it was going to be like a zombie thing until the end. It involved centered around a young woman, yet again, who is deaf. So a good portion of the film is done in sign language with subtitles. And I thought it was very well done. And there's a lot of things in this film that were really creative. There was one portion, and I'll say it here because I really enjoyed it. It had two women talking to each other, kind of having an argument in sign language, and the camera was going around them, and so it was played out the same way as if the audience was also deaf, because you couldn't see their lips or their hands, and whenever that was the case, the subtitles weren't there either. They would just pop out and you'd see the last part of the word because they might have signed that or something like that, and so it was I thought it was brilliant. Yeah. That was an amazing choice, putting the viewer in the same situation that they would be in, in an everyday situation, everyday going out and about. If you can't see somebody's lips
Yeah, you don't.
and they're not signing, you can't hear them, right? So you don't know what they're saying. So I thought that was really, really cool. And then it had a whole bunch of other stuff that was going on in it. And then, like I said, zombies.
Yeah, that's what dragged it down for me.
It was a weird,
Yeah.
whatever. Next one up, yeah, it was okay. Next one up was Limbo.
I hated that.
This was a weird, one of the weird ones. A tale of a guy who's kind of,
he's running away from something.
yeah, he's a lost soul. He doesn't know what to do. It's not one of those things where there's a big long narrative. He's out, essentially he's like in the desert. And he's just, he's a lost soul. He doesn't know what to do with himself. It's very metaphorical. And he comes across a dog. And
do you know what I thought when I saw that dog?
What?
I thought, this is not a dog. This looks like that thing from the Never-Ending Story.
Never-Ending Story. I thought the same thing. That's funny. And then it no, it wasn't. And then it goes through, some existential type stuff, and just short, like 8 minutes, but one of the shorter ones.
Okay, I can't say I hated it, because it did have a good kind of message, I think.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I thought, for the most part, it was well done. That's a problem with some, when you're doing existential type filming. It really is up to the viewer to come out with their own thoughts and what they think the movie is about. This is one of those, though. It is steering you into a certain direction. Like it definitely has an overwhelming story that is the basis, but you could go off and think little aspects of the film here and there could mean different things, and you're kind of supposed to do that. And the director was there for that one. It was a U.S. short, so he came in and was there. And that's very, very rare that there's ever anybody from the short film program, any of the writer, directors, or anything, the people made them. It's very rare to have anybody come in. So that was kind of nice, because he did a Q&A after. So that was kind of cool. The next one up was your least favorite.
Oh.
And that was a film, again, U.S., called Bark.
Don't watch it.
Again, very, very weird. And essentially involving, were they sisters?
It seems
I think they were
like
sisters.
They were sisters.
Two sisters, I guess you'd say, arguing with each other. It's the only way I had to really explain it. And so it's two sisters, just the two, dialogue between them, and a series of, well, not even events. It's just dialogue, essentially, them talking to each other, and what they're saying is kind of what makes this whole thing weird.
And then it gets weirder.
And then it ends on the weirdest note of all. But it wasn't high on my list of things that I liked out of the shorts, but I did think that whoever wrote the dialogue and the delivery of that dialogue between them was really, really well done. It just was really, really weird, and I didn't understand what the hell was going on.
No, I didn't want to understand what was going on. I was just like, what the hell am I watching here? Like, what?
Next up was a French film called The Call.
Should have been called something else, I think. It's just like, what the heck does that have to do? I don't.
Yeah, and so it was another weird one.
Yeah.
Peter Kaplowski, one of the main person who picks all these shorts, he has a tendency to like really weird things, and it's clear that he got his way and picked some of the weirdest shorts he could find this year. And this one essentially involved
it was police.
Two police officers, and was it one of their wives or?
Yes. Yes. Or maybe she was not married to him.
I don't know that she was, because the other police officer didn't know who, like, he was asking, like, do you know her?
That's right.
Right?
Unless they just started working
Maybe.
together.
Maybe they're just, new partners, I don't know. But for some reason, if they were married or whatever...
Because we don't know how long... Did he say how long?
No, I don't think so. But either way, first they think it's a dead body, and then she's alive. And then some really weird stuff happens. There's water involved, removal of skin. It's just it gets really, really weird. But at the same time, outside of the fact that I couldn't figure out who she was in relation to him.
I didn't really mind that one.
Maybe she was I don't know, maybe it was a case of adultery or something. I don't know. But it was, you knew what was going on. You knew what was happening. It was very, very weird. And then it ended on a crazy climax. Again, weird. It's just weird. A lot of weird.
It was weird, but not in a horrible way, like
no.
the bark one, which I just why?
No, that's it. With the bark one, you're just like, there's no point to this one.
No.
With the call, there is a point. Like it does have a story. It does have a reason for it. After that was UK production called Still.
Excellent.
Yes, Leslie liked that one. This was the scariest of the bunch. So it had some scare to it. And it's one of those women at home alone, and essentially it's like a home invasion type short, but it's very short.
Yeah.
Very short. It gets the message across and the point it's trying to make across very, very quickly.
Yeah, because that could have been like not long drawn out, but that could have actually been a movie. You know what I mean? And then maybe the husband would come home at one point or whatever.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of stuff you could have done with it, and that's the thing. It has a lot of tension and suspense going on in it, but at the same time, it never tends to go too long with it, or even long enough. But it still manages to achieve, which I think is the main thing about it. That one I'd say, eventually track down again. That one's by Oliver Park. Again, it's a UK short called Still from 2016. Next one I really liked, and it's a body horror short. When Susurrus Stirs. This is out of the U.S., directed by Anthony Cousins, and it is essentially a story about a guy who gets a parasite, and the parasite grows and doesn't really take over so much as begins communicating with its host, and the host decides that it wants to follow through with the plans, and eventually it gets to the end climax and goes for the gold and gets uber gross. Wow. Yeah, so there's some stop motion animation going on, puppet work, a lot of prosthetic and makeup, and it was just fantastic. Very bleh, very gross.
But you really like it.
And I love that stuff, so that's why I really enjoyed it. The next one up was the shortest of the shorts at 2 minutes. 2 minutes.
I thought that was like an introduction.
So did
to another one.
So did I.
You know?
I thought it was. I didn't know what it was at first. I was just like, "What the hell are we watching?" But this it was called Vitamins for Life, and essentially it's kind of like, how would you? A very bizarre take on an educational film for a classroom type thing. I think that's how you would probably describe it. going through a bunch of vitamins that don't actually exist,
yeah.
And explaining, you know, what they are and what they do. And that's it. It's just 2 minutes. It's like, you need to take this vitamin. Why? Because of this. If you don't do it, this is what happens.
I thought it was amusing.
It was amusing. And they really weird looking vitamins. Like they I don't know what geode store, you know, rock store, whatever they were pulling this stuff from, but they were like pulling out some crazy looking crystals and things to make up these vitamins. And one was a I don't know, orange blob. But anyways, yeah. After that was another. Actually, I think the last two were from U.S. Was a bonkers of a short film called Greener Grass, and oh my god! Like at first, I thought it was going to be like it was stupid, but then the first twist happened. You're like,
yeah.
What? Did that just happen? And
who does that?
And then it just went like I like to say downhill, but like it's a good downhill. Like you want to go downhill with this little movie.
And that also kind of had a good little message there.
Yeah, and I guess you'd qualify it as like a dark comedy, a black comedy of sorts, in a tale of the bizarre.
Yeah.
And essentially it involves two soccer moms at soccer games.
I want to watch that again now.
Like, and honestly, I cannot give any more than that without literally spoiling it, because what makes this short so good is the fact that you don't have any idea what is coming next. Or that there's anything coming in the first place. But, yeah.
Oh.
It's... Wow.
I'm remembering.
Wow. Oh yeah, it's just one after the other, after the other, after the other of absolute ludicrous absurdity, for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
So, that's another one I would definitely say track down if you can. It's by Paul Briganti. Again, it's U.S. From 2015. So this, you may actually be able to find it somewhere. It may be online, it may not be. This is the problem with shorts. They often, you can never find them. If you're lucky, they get, released onto Vimeo or something like that eventually. But write them down, set up some kind of Google search type thing so that when they come up, you get notified, because I think you definitely want to. Well, if we say track them down, you should track them down, because they're definitely good watches. The last of the shorts, and the one I surprisingly liked the least.
Yeah, I didn't.
And I say surprising because this was the only animated short, and I usually absolutely love the animated ones. They're like top 5 always. And this was a stop motion animated film about, was it like a wolf and a rabbit?
Yeah.
And the wolf got itchy and scratched themselves too much, and then it just, I don't know, ended up with weird stuff happening. And that's not, I didn't have a problem with that. That was okay. It was pretty straightforward. It was whatever. My problem was the fact that it was just so slow getting to the point of doing anything, where I don't know. There were sometimes I don't mind it. Like there are a lot of Jodorowsky films that are like that, where it takes a little bit longer to do the actual scene, because the camera tends to dwell and focus on a character a little bit too long. It kind of overstays its welcome just a little bit. But with the itching, I didn't get that it just overstayed it a little bit. It felt like they didn't know how to move forward. Like it was like, oh, I shot too many frames, but I shot them, so I don't want to not put them in the movie. So I'll leave them there. But it's like the pacing just was not there. It did not make sense. I don't need to look at somebody's face where things are moving around their face for like
that bothered me.
For for a second to move on to the next thing. If you're doing it, fine. But to just sit there and watch it and be like, okay, I get it. Moving on. When are you moving? Let's go. Okay, now we're doing the next scene. Oh, and then you're back to the exact same thing again. Ugh. Yeah, so there was a lot of seeing the same visuals over and over and over again. And, I mean, the stop motion wasn't exactly the best. But I'm okay with that. Choppy stop motion, crude stop motion isn't something I really hold against people. Whoa!
What happened to me?
Hold against people. And I mean, this looked like it was done with Play-Doh type thing, like plasticine type stuff, which is fine too. I don't have a problem with that either. Some of the greatest Canadian shorts are made that way. But yeah, it just it didn't go anywhere fast enough. I wanted to get somewhere. Every scene in that film, I wanted to get to the next scene. I was just like, get there already. And yeah, they didn't. And it's only 15 minutes long, but it felt like it was a hell of a lot longer.
It did. Yeah, it did.
Right? So yeah, there's the shorts. We gave you some recommendations on films you should try and track down.
And you should, because we both agreed.
Yes, and we both agreed on them. Like, seriously, like, we didn't have them necessarily in the same order. But, yeah, even some of the stuff I had higher, I wouldn't necessarily say track them down. The ones we said track down, which were Greener Grass, Still, and Curve, and to a certain portion,
The
Dawn of the Deaf, and When Sorceress Stirs, depending on what you're into. If you're into zombies, check out Dawn of the Deaf. If you're into body horror and gross things, check out When Sorceress Stirs. If you're not into gross things, stay well away from that one. But yeah, Still, definitely, that's a good fun one. And it's simple.
Oh yeah. But effective.
And Curve was just... The Curve was, honestly...
I couldn't... And it wasn't long, but there was parts of it I couldn't even, like, look just because I felt... You know what I mean? I was just like, my God. One
of the things, I don't think I mentioned it, was Curve, the idea behind the film that you're watching, I don't know how anybody comes up with it. And that's one of the aspects I loved about it. Not just the fact that it was done, like, perfectly. But it was the fact that who thinks of this? And I don't think it's one of those things where you could really make a full feature-length film out of. It is a short film. It works as a short film. It is only a short film, and it is perfect. So, there you go. We've probably rambled on longer than the friggin' short films are.
Because we don't know how to be short.
No, we don't know how to do short. And here we go. We're continuing on. Anyways, we'll end it here and let you go. Grab a beer or something. So, till next video, take care. Have a good one.